What's up, everybody? I'm just testing out. I'm trying to get some background music on these live streams, and there's really no other way to test it out except for mess around with it. So you're going to have to bear with me. It's going to be tough to find the perfect pitch. So if you can, tell me, if the music is too loud, and then we'll never have to do this again. Mess around with it, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Find the perfect. I think it's at a good pitch now. I mean, if it's too loud, just somebody yell at me and tell me to turn it down. We're gonna get started. If you're a replay viewer, of course, hit the timestamps below in the pinned comment, and you can go right to the part of the video that you want to go to, whether that be an article that we're going to look at or charts, namely charts. So Jeff Dollar has a bad feeling whales will dump when we least expect it. What's up, Michael? I see you, man. I see you in the charts. I see you in the chat. Okay. So I'm going to give it just another minute. Sorry, buddy. I know that's annoying, but it is what it is. I got to set it up once, and then we're good to go. So appreciate your patience. You all just staring at me as I'm just sitting here on my screen. Yeah, the question is, right? I have the title of this video, basically, why did this happen, right? And I'm asking that question simply because it was floating around on Twitter because of an article, and I wanted to talk about it. So let's start there. Obviously, as you see on the screen, we have the charts up, but I really want to talk about this first. Bitcoin's recent surge due to its maturation as an asset. So I just think it's really funny. I actually tweeted the real article. This is Cointelegraph covering it, but it was Bloomberg that pretty much released this article. I'm going to talk about Litecoin in a little bit. Going to talk about Bitcoin charts. Why is Bitcoin surging? It says alternative data shows it's grown up. So new data suggests that Bitcoin's BTC growth is explained by its maturation as an asset based on conversations surrounding the leading cryptocurrency, Bloomberg reported. People are talking about it. That's why price moved, because people are talking about it in the most general of terms. Bloomberg cited a report from web intelligence platform Indexica that developed an index based on natural language processing of textual documents in an effort to explain Bitcoin's recent surge. This article is extremely tough to read. The research reportedly revealed three major drivers of the coin's growth. Everybody, three major drivers. We're revealing right now why Bitcoin. An article that we're going to look at, Sorry. We're revealing right now why Bitcoin is taking off. Explaining the future of Bitcoin. Zach Selbert, chief executive officer at Indexica, reportedly argued, think about it. Executives will speak of good things they expect to happen on conference calls before they happen. They only mention mistakes afterwards. Over the past month, Bitcoin has demonstrated an impressive surge from around $5,075 on April 15th to its current price of around $8,178, according to CoinMarketCap. So there's an article. The main article is on Bloomberg. I'm going to put these links in the description. But basically, Indexica, an alternative data provider, built a custom index based on NLP of thousands of textual documents to try and explain Bitcoin's 28% run-up throughout the month of April. What they found pointed to a coming of age for the cryptocurrency. Here are the three main drivers. More complex conversation, fewer concerns about fraud, and a shift in the tense of how Bitcoin is talked about from the past to the future. Everybody. Those things play into the long-term growth of Bitcoin. But this isn't new. This isn't new. This data that was just gathered is nothing out of the ordinary. So when I tweeted, I said another Bloomberg article running around in circles trying to figure out why Bitcoin has value. I mean, the Bloomberg article is written in a way that is like, what? How did this happen, everybody? This is crazy because there's always bearish articles on Bloomberg, right? So now they come out with one like, how did this happen? How do we have a price increase? Nobody thought this was coming. But I have news for Bloomberg. A lot of people thought it was coming, mainly people and investors that are long in Bitcoin. And I'm not trying to say that with such a condescending tone. I probably sound like I am. I don't mean to. But there's just so many people. If you're following Bitcoin at all, especially on Twitter or on YouTube, there's so many people that have been talking about a move like this. And, outside of conversational data, right? I mean, a lot of the Bloomberg article suggests that it's, big time players, man. They're starting to talk about Bitcoin. That's where this came from. Big time players have always it's been on their radar, everybody. Poseidon Lou, thanks for the super chat. LTC, $115 soon. Appreciate that, Poseidon Lou. Always love seeing you here. Thanks for not texting me earlier. I texted Poseidon Lou earlier because every time we were about to break $100 for Litecoin, he texts me, yo, are you watching Litecoin? And then it just sees resistance. So I texted him first today and I said, dude, don't text me. And then sure enough, Litecoin made moves. I'm having some issues here. So anyway, that's a Bloomberg article. So my answer is this. This is why Bitcoin price is surging. Bloomberg asked the question, why is Bitcoin surging? We don't need data that shows people are talking about Bitcoin to answer that question. The only data we need, not data based on conversations, but data based on charts, is right here. It's right here, everybody. This I posted in December 2018. If you haven't seen it, I just want to throw it out there. And I'm not the only one that has a parabolic chart that looks like this. They all look a little bit different, but the general gist is the same. It's the cycles of Bitcoin. My chart really goes into 3 phases of Bitcoin in its cycles. Number 1, the halving, right? So you can see over here on the screen, the halving, step number 1. Step number 2, all-time high, typically around a year later. And then step number 3, correction, right? So we've been just going through those cycles. And so we have that data for Bitcoin now. And the charts, if you lay them out based on the data, historical data that we have, not data about what people are saying about Bitcoin, but just what Bitcoin has done, we can chart this. We can scope out where we think we might be going in terms of Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin price. So the cycle of Bitcoin is very clear on the screen. You can see when I posted this, right, Bitcoin was trading in December, I guess around 30. I mean, this was literally when I posted this, $3,100. It was almost right at the swing low of the bottom of the bear market for Bitcoin. And what do we have? We have a bunch of things going on here, and we'll dig into that in a second. But that's why. This is why Bitcoin we knew the answer to this question when we were in December swing lows, the bottom of the bear market, why Bitcoin is surging right now. We could have answered the question then, which is to say, you see it on the charts, this arrow exiting the bear market. It's part of the cycle of Bitcoin. And it's extremely, extremely beneficial to utilize charts like this, in particular historical data, right? And then plotting the potential for Bitcoin. So if we look at Bitcoin on that chart, this is like a live chart, a real chart. As I said, when I charted this, Bitcoin, I guess when I posted that chart, which by the way, I'm going to try and post a link. Here's a link to that chart. It's on TradingView. You can check it out. I have a lot of writings on there about what's going on, about why I charted it that way. I tried to a little bit educational if you're looking to get into charting. But the 5 things that I use in technical analysis in finding the best possible area to accumulate. That's why I posted that. To really show how I buy the dips, why I buy the dips. Here are huge dips, right? This entire bottom range in Bitcoin was a huge dip that this chart plays into. So not going to go over all of these things now, but check it out if you're interested. If you're interested in learning technical analysis, it's very simple. The way I do my technical analysis is very simple. I use very traditional indicators, moving averages, and very simple principles that you can really pick up quickly if you're interested. So when I posted that, we were, where were we? I said it was around December. It was literally at the bottom of the bear market. I posted that long-term chart, right? And the one thing for some reason that's not on this chart, it keeps getting deleted. I'm going to put it back right now, is a Fibonacci retracement, long-term Fibonacci retracement from the swing low in the 2015 bear market to the swing high bull market. I just want to plot this so we have it, and I'm going to have to lock it again. But the Fibonacci resistance, or Fibonacci support, I should say, at the 786 right there. So here it is. Make it a little bigger. Lock it. So that's a really important area. And you can see this yellow line here in the last bear market had a similar area that Bitcoin wrapped itself around for the bottom. It really was definition and defining the bottom in terms of Bitcoin. Scrolling back to this current bear market, same exact thing. Bitcoin wrapping itself around that 786 in the long-term Fibonacci retracement. Incredibly important. Andy Pro 500 with a $5 super chat for LAUNCHPAD Foundation. By the way, all super chats go to the LAUNCHPAD Foundation. Everybody, want to throw that out there. Thank you for what you do, LTC, closer to ratio parity in the coming years. LTC, I truly believe, will make some ridiculous gains in terms of BTC LTC pair. Walter JC 499 super chat for LAUNCHPAD Foundation. I'm so glad I bought the dips. I'm so close to breaking even considering I got in December 2017. So that's nice, Walter. You've got a little success story. If you were kind of someone buying at higher prices, and you were somebody that's patient and had thick skin through all of that bear market in 2018, I love the success story that you have and many others have. There is a huge payoff for being patient in these markets. So thank you for the super chat, guys, for LAUNCHPAD Foundation. I truly 100% appreciate it. So 786 line, And the reason I'm talking about these things, these data points that I've talked about a lot, I talk about a lot on this channel, is simply because we're answering the question, why is Bitcoin surging? It's surging because it was, we couldn't call exactly where the bottom was. We had our bottom range in that 35 to 5,500. We went a little bit below that, right? $3,100. However, one thing is true: this 786 line and this entire swing low for Bitcoin was in play before we even got there, right? And it's based off of historical data. It's what's happening right now. What makes this so powerful and kind of even predictable is the fact that this market is so small, right? And so we have we have a good amount of data on Bitcoin now, right? 10 years of data in terms of the charts, and we can really take that data in such a small market, right? What is total market cap at right now? 200. So market cap's at $254 billion. It sounds nice, right? We've picked up some steam, but it's incredibly small. And we can take the data of the charts for Bitcoin, and in a small market like that, it becomes very, very predictable. That's not taking away the volatility of it. It's extremely volatile, but the predictability of it is very solid, right? Because we're still within that volatile parabolic uptrend. And that's why we're charting and anticipating the things that we anticipate. So if you were accumulating at this bottom range, as we were anticipating to do, we talked about it like leading all year into that range. We talked about it. Then I'm sure you're enjoying yourselves right now. But that's really the biggest reason why Bitcoin is doing what it's doing. It's not because people are talking about Bitcoin, right? I mean, at a very simple level, yes, we're talking about Bitcoin, but we already knew that, right? We already knew that there are very big players that are thinking about getting into the space, getting into Bitcoin. We already knew that. We knew that in 2017, right? So that data is really nothing new. And it really doesn't, I don't think, answer the question accurately, truly, why Bitcoin is surging. Bitcoin is surging because people want it, everybody. Bitcoin is surging because it's following its cycle, right? We're like a year away from the next halving, and it's doing what it always does. So we can track this thing, and we can chart it leading into new all-time highs if we get there. I say if, because nothing is a guarantee. I want to throw that out there. Nothing is a guarantee. As beautiful as this chart looks, it's not definite that we're just going to follow it perfectly, but so far we've done a really good job. But we'll track it leading into all-time highs, and then guess what? If we get to all-time highs again, we'll do the same thing we did in the last bear market. We'll track it in a bear market. We'll talk about that next 786 pullback all the way up here, in 2022 or whenever this is. And that's really essentially this swing low that we just came out of to new swing high, right? Depending where it is, down to a 786 correction. We're going to chart it, right? And this would be an awesome video to document if we ever get to that point. So it really helps answer the question why Bitcoin is surging. So if we look at, and actually before I go to the daily chart, I do want to point this out. I just thought it was interesting. I saw it earlier. If you look at the last bear market, because we're always trying to find clues on what's going to happen next. It gets very hard to chart Bitcoin and Litecoin when it just kind of leaves patterns behind. And what I mean by that is like patterns get harder to find when you just have these stacks on stacks on stacks of green candles. If you look at a chart, which we'll look at the 4-hour in particular, it gets hard. It gets more difficult to chart. So if we zoom in on the last bear market, as we exited that last bear market, this is what I'm talking about. This is harder to chart. When Bitcoin's going to want to do a short-term parabolic move, it's harder to chart. Way easier to chart, if you zoom out on the charts, is a long-term parabolic move. We have cycles. We have way more zoomed out data to use, and it's very helpful to have all that. But when we're having a huge breakout for Bitcoin, like this is the bottom, exiting the bottom of the last bear market, 2015, it gets difficult. It truly gets difficult to find patterns. So I'm not going to sit here and draw crazy patterns for you. But I do want to kind of gather as much data as we can to try and get an idea of what's going on. So one thing I found interesting was in the last bear market, the top, we talk about this swing high that Bitcoin had before it had a pretty decent correction from that swing high, right? If you look at this daily chart, 40% back down to the 50 moving average, right? It's a pretty healthy correction. So imagine something like that happening right now. It puts a bad taste in your mouth, but it's completely in play. I continue to say that. It very much is in play. I don't know when we're going to get this similar swing high, but this is what's interesting about this data point that I have. This swing high, right? If we're looking back in terms of previous swing highs, it was almost exactly congruent with this swing high back here in November of 2014. On its way down, it was kind of that final really nice move for Bitcoin from a swing low. We're talking a 50% gain in a matter of a week or two, right? It was a swing high just below the 200 moving average, and then Bitcoin really broke through a very key area we talk about on this channel around $315, right? It's similar to when Bitcoin broke through $6,000 to the downside this time around. So really interesting area here, right? This swing high to close to the 200 moving average, and then out of the bear market, a swing high right into that area around $490, close to $500, right? Before seeing resistance. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because if we go to the charts and what we're looking at today, so let's go there. You see a very similar looking type of deal, right? So this time around, here's our $6,000, similar to $315 we just looked at. And here's that last swing high right below the 200 moving average, almost an identical move, right? As last bear market swing high before kind of making its way down below $315 then. And this time around, testing $6,000 before breaking $6,000 this time around. But look where we are now on the charts. We're very close to that area, right? I mean, specifically that area is around 84, 86. And I have to actually, I have to update that. So this is a live chart. The other chart I'm using that I use for documentation of the cycles of Bitcoin is actually Brave New Coin Liquid Index. So it's a day behind. So let me go to so I'm on a live chart now. So we'll use this data point again to really get it, because we're even closer. Like we're literally very close. So there's that point. Swing high to 200 moving average, right? And here we are. We're just below it. It's around 84.90. And the question is Bitcoin gonna do something similar and see resistance in this area? I think it's a really interesting thing to watch for. I don't typically really like to use previous areas, especially that are months and months back on the charts as kind of a resistance area. But for me, since it's so synergistic of a move with that last bear market, I'm really interested to see, and here it is on this chart, if you can see, swing high here, swing high here. That's kind of the synergy of 2015, what's going on there, to 2019, literally right now. There's a lot of synergy happening with the charts right there. So I'm really interested to see if we get any resistance. We're a couple $100 away in terms of testing that area. It doesn't look like it on this chart because I'm kind of not extremely zoomed in, but we're talking, 3% or so. And this is now that we're zooming in on the charts a little bit. This is what I'm talking about. It gets harder to chart patterns, to find patterns when Bitcoin is just almost day after day just seeing some really good gains. Not much consolidation at all. We can get clues of consolidation if we go over to the 4-hour chart. So here's the 4-hour chart. We get some better clues of short-term consolidation. So if you're still short-term bullish, I think most of us are long-term bullish. If you're short-term bullish, this plays into that. The charts can kind of play into the short-term bullish a little bit. So we had this initial pullback May 12th, a few days ago. It was a 10% day. We talked about it. It was around 11%. We talked about it when it happened, and we basically said it kind of feels like a blip on the radar. Nobody's even taken a hit emotionally or mentally, right? Nobody even really noticed that Bitcoin was down like 10% within that 8 hours, because everybody's still so euphoric from all these gains leading into that. But it was obviously, since that happened, we had a swing low to $6,700. And look, a few days later, we're back up at $8,300 as I do this video. Very important short-term consolidation. And these are the things that we want to look for in terms of Bitcoin. If you're watching this on the short term, which most are, I am, I'm pretty sure you are, 4-hour chart is really nice. You can go to the hourly. I really don't like to as much. But I like the short-term chart. I like the 50 moving average on the 4-hour. And moves like this are something you want to see. So my point being, we had another kind of similar, not as much move just yesterday, May 14th. And that was around 8%, right? 8% to the downside. So short-term consolidation necessary. If we want to break that previous swing high that we had yesterday at around 80, it's like 8,300, a little over $8,300, we're going to need an 8% pullback like that, right, on the 4-hour. I shouldn't say we need it. I'm just saying it's healthy. It's better, because when we look at the 4-hour RSI and stock RSI, now we're seeing what we have to work with in terms of momentum. Bitcoin's looking crazy on the chart, right? It's looking parabolic on the chart, but on the short term, on the 4-hour, we have room to go if we want. If Bitcoin wants to make a crazy little move to 9,000, the RSI is wide open for it. You can see this slower moving momentum oscillator right here. Plenty of room to the upside to get back into the overbought before maybe a next consolidation phase. My point being, the bulls can continue, everybody. It can happen. The room is there as long as we're getting these little pullbacks that you see on the 4-hour. And if you zoom out on a bull market, you're going to see pretty much a reflection of what you see here on the daily chart, right? And what I mean by that is, here's a bull market, and this is what it looks like, right? So this is a longer term, obviously, longer time frame. This is months and months and months, but it's a bull market, and you have very simply parabolic moves, and you have these little pullbacks, right? You have these momentum breathers, if you want to call it, just Bitcoin slowing down to get some more momentum to the upside, right? And so the same thing is happening on the 4-hour. So if you're like me, and you probably are, and you're always checking the charts, you're updating your portfolio and stuff like that, it's always nice to track the 4-hour, because it gives you just kind of a clearer picture of like, wow, now this thing's getting crazy. When you start seeing Bitcoin on the 4-hour, and you see the RSI up here in this green area on my charts, it's way in the overbought area. The daily chart's going crazy. Then you can start anticipating these little 10% pullbacks. They're very normal on whatever chart you're looking at when we get into that overbought area. So keep an eye on the 4-hour chart is pretty much what I'm saying. It's extremely beneficial. The other thing is, if you know, I don't use the MACD like crazy amount, but I do like to use it in terms of momentum and kind of just getting a quick glance at what's going on. Where are we on this histogram down here? You see momentum kind of picking back up to the upside, not quite there yet. But when we're in an environment like this, right here, and we're starting to see momentum slow down, and you start seeing this MACD line start crossing towards that signal line, then you want to be a little careful, right? And that's exactly what we saw here. That was happening exactly at this point. We got an 8% to the downside within, what was it? I guess you could say 12 hours, right? Yeah, there's 12 hours right here, 444. So extremely beneficial if you're somebody that's, I'm not giving financial advice here, but if you're trying to continue buying these little dips and scooping up because you think Bitcoin's not slowing down, then these are the dips you would want to try and scoop up, right? I'm not telling you should do that, so please don't do it because I'm saying that, but this is something a trader would look at. If we pivot over to Litecoin, I definitely want to touch on Litecoin, everybody. I tweeted this earlier. Like, I was just waiting for Litecoin to break $100. Litecoin, I tweeted, Litecoin has broken back above $100 for the first time in almost a year. If you've held through all of this, and then I just put a pound, and there it is. People going crazy. I have a lot of Litecoin peeps in my Twitter, and people having some fun with it. It's a good day. It's a good day for Bitcoin. It's a good day for Litecoin. It's a good day for Ethereum. Hey, it's a good day for XRP. Here's a tweet, okay, getting into kind of the charts. This was from 12:42 a.m. this morning, so late last night into early morning. Litecoin was trading at $95. I said Litecoin's chance to break $100 has arrived. $110 target on this particular ascending triangle on the 4-hour chart. So that was very early today, 12 something in the morning, and we eventually got our breakout, right? And here's Litecoin on the daily. We'll visit that in a second. We can go to the 4-hour to talk about exactly this move. This is what I tweeted. This was the ascending triangle I tweeted. You see it here. The breakout, just so you know, is the height of this triangle. I have it right around $110. We can call it $110. That's the breakout's targets. Let's get there right now, Litecoin, while I'm live. Just do it right now. Just go. I'll wait a minute if I need to. Just go. Right now. Right now. Can I speak it into existence, everybody? I just want Litecoin to like hit a target to the upside while I'm live. Like, just do it. Complete the pattern for me, dude. So $110 is my target to the upside. Now, I want to throw this out there. You can, I don't typically chart it like this, but you can take this as kind of a flagpole, bullish flag type of deal. I don't do that, but I know many people have targets at like the $115 to $120 area. TechLords has a target of $112. So there you've heard it first. Can it happen right now? I really would like that. That would be fun. It's probably not going to. Actually, usually when I do live streams, right when I end the live stream, Litecoin retraces back down somewhere. So expect a $96 Litecoin as I'm ending this live stream today. What I want to say is, in terms of how we got here, right? We have a lot going on. We have this falling wedge extending back to April, right? So a month and a half ago, we had this falling wedge. We had just this story of the 4-hour 50 moving average coming back down below the 200, coming back up, right? It's kind of a wild ride in the last month and a half. Many people thinking and anticipating just lows, right? Just lower lows in this wedge, $50 Litecoin, right? And I was talking about it, everybody. I want to throw that out there. I was 100% talking about resistance around here in this area and potentially $50 Litecoin. I wasn't, necessarily saying it was going to happen, but I was 100% ready and prepared. And we had our reasons why that could have happened. But what did we do? We didn't. We broke to our other alternative breakout area, which is this, the height of this falling wedge right here to $96, $95. We saw almost perfect breakout target to the upside. We saw resistance. We fell into this new pattern, a bullish pattern, a continuation pattern. It is an ascending triangle, not the largest ascending triangle, but it's a bullish pattern nonetheless. And we broke out of that literally today. This is how we got here, everybody. And just to throw this out there, 3 days ago, we got that 50 moving average cross above the 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart. Very nice, because really what that does is it protects this move that we really want to continue. 50 moving average above the 200 moving average on the daily chart. We want this. We want this separation that you see here. We truly do. I saw Liquid Canvas with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Glad to see you back in the saddle. I'm in the temporary saddle, but I'm here. I'm making it work. We don't close on our house till June, but appreciate the super chat for Launchpad Foundation. So let's continue. This is what we want: 50 moving average, 200 moving average. We want that because really, what is that? The picture perfect. What does it symbolize to a T? Is it symbolizes a nice, awesome bull market, which is what we all want, right? So you can just see it, the separation of the 50 moving average, the 200 moving average. We want that to continue, right? We don't want so much of a weakness of Litecoin where we're not seeing support above the 50 moving average, and then we start seeing actually the 50 moving average start, coming back down and threatening the 200 moving average. We don't want that bearish cross. So it's something we keep an eye on. What I want to say in terms of Litecoin on this daily chart is this. Check it out. This is an instance where, so far at least, Litecoin has diverged away from what it's done in the past, right? So we had this swing high for Litecoin back in the last bear markets. We had so much synergy between the charts, right? The whole bear market, the bottom of the bear market, even leading into this bullish cross, 50 moving average above the 200 moving average. So many similarities, so many, I guess you could say, similarities in terms of the 50 moving average and the 200 moving average. But what happened? We diverged away from this swing high. Not because we didn't get a swing high, but there's two reasons why. Number one is, and before I leave the 2015 charts, what happened? Litecoin saw a swing high and came back down to 50 moving average, 64% to the downside, right? So that was the first time from exiting that bear market, Litecoin kind of came back down to the 200 moving average, 65%. So if we go to the charts today, we've had a swing high. I mean, we're talking ridiculous from the bottom of December, like over 300% gains, everybody, into April, okay? And what happened? Litecoin came back down, not 60-some% like the last bear market to the 50 moving average. So we can call it 30%. Litecoin came back down 30%. And instead of kind of just testing it and then ultimately breaking through the 50 moving average like it did in the last bear market, look what Litecoin did. Literally just today. Huge move. Okay? So here's that first swing high. Then we come back down to test 50 moving average. We got support. Number one good thing. But we have a new swing high. That is very bullish. That did not happen in the last bear market. So, I said when Litecoin's going to diverge away from that pattern and from the momentum of itself in the last bear market, we're going to talk about it. Well, here it is. We just got a higher high after that previous swing high before testing the 50 moving average. That's a really big deal in my opinion. Oscar, thank you for the $4.99 super chat for Launchpad Foundation. Truly appreciate it. I really do. Thank you for coming by, and thank you for your support. It means a lot. Rob said, I told someone last night at a business networking event that Bitcoin would be 200,000 by 220. He almost spit his drink out. So Rob's calling $200,000 by 2020. I don't think I would agree with that, Rob, but I'm loving your bullishness, man. I really am, and I'm not even gonna argue it. I'll take it. I 100% will take it. So that's Litecoin, everybody. Litecoin didn't pump. We didn't reach our targets, right? At 100, 110, 111. TechLords has 112. We didn't reach our target while we're doing a live stream, unfortunately. Will it happen when we get off the live stream? I don't know. I want to throw this out there in terms of Litecoin to the downside. You know me, every time we kind of exit a resistance area or break out of a pattern, namely this ascending triangle, I always am looking for a revisit to the initial resistance area that we broke out from. If we're breaking out through a support area like the downside, I'd look for a revisit to that area, right? That's not what happened. We exited this ascending triangle through the upside here, and right now, that's pretty much in the $95, $96 range. So to the downside, remember we talked about these 4-hour retracements, the importance of them. To the downside, now that we're kind of approaching this overbought area here on the stock RSI, we're getting close on the RSI. The MACD could even see a little bit of shift of momentum to the downside if Litecoin chooses. So to the downside, if we get a shift, right, if we get a little bit of a pullback, I want to throw this out there. Thanks, Eric, for the $1.99 super chats. Appreciate you for the LAUNCHPAD Foundation. Thanks for coming by, Eric. If we get this pullback, we're looking at around $95, $96. It's easy to be like, man, are we going to pull back to 100 from $105? Shout out to David Schwartz and Bitcoin Bed in the house right now. I love how David Schwartz doesn't even have a profile pic. It's awesome to see you guys here. Dude, the crypto community is small but strong, my people. I'm telling you. It's small but strong. So, yes, the mental area, $100. It would be nice if that was kind of an area of support that I saw. I don't really see it as being an area of support. So if we break back below $100, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. It doesn't mean we can't break back above it real quick. We always see mental areas that are kind of broken and then rebroken, and whether it's to the upside or downside, they're always tested, and you always see Bitcoin or Litecoin kind of wrapping around upside, downside, a mental type of area. So for Litecoin, mentally, I'm talking $100, and it's really not an area of support at this time. The area of support is just below that at around $95, $96. That would be like a 9%, 10% pullback, right? We might have something like that. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Again, if you're one of those short-term accumulators and you're still buying and you still think we're going crazy and this is going to continue, that's a nice little pullback area. But on the upside, let's see what happens at $110 if we continue to the upside. If we break that, sky's the limits, everybody. Sky's the limit. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard when Bitcoin, Litecoin start kind of going a little bit short-term parabolic. It gets hard to chart. You just kind of have to sit back and enjoy the ride, right? Just kind of buckle up, just enjoy the ride. Don't even look at the charts. Just refresh your wallet. Just refresh your wallet and have some fun. Because it is fun. I'm telling you, it is fun. This is fun. Bitcoin Ben says, I buy when I have money. I'm not a trader. I think that's a pretty good approach. Bitcoin Ben just buys. That's not financial advice, but Bitcoin Ben just buys. Clint Westwood, he says, I support Litecoin at any price. I do too. I really do too. Thank you for the super chat. $5 super chat for LAUNCHPAD Foundation, Tony Paracone. Very much appreciate that. And then $2 from Anti-Communist. Thanks again for your calmness. BTC Bob Ross. He cracked me up, man. Thank you for the $2 super chat for LAUNCHPAD Foundation. You all are awesome. So that's the live stream for today, everybody. I wanted to really just go over the charts, go over what's going on. Time for me to kind of log out. I'm very excited. I want to show you this real quick. I don't know if you actually be able to see it very well, but the sign is done. I don't have it yet, but it will be shipped out. This is the Crypto Capital Venture neon sign for the new studio. It's done. It's in Florida. I guess it's getting shipped out today. It's so fresh, everybody. I'm really excited. Thank you, Super Chatters. Thank you, everybody who came by today. I truly appreciate it. You hanging out in the bear market through 2018 was extremely helpful to me. And now that we're hanging out in a bull market, it is extremely fun and I'm enjoying it. If you're on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. I try and post more regularly in terms of price movements. Like right now, we have Litecoin, $106. We have Bitcoin, $83.65. These things happen quick, so I try and stay on top of it on Twitter. Crypto Capital Venture, Crypto Recruiter on Twitter, and I'll track it. Let's see if we break to this target 110, 112 for Tech Lords. Got to give out a shout out to Tech Lords and his TA. So let's see what happens. Appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next video. I most certainly will. If you're here and you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. I 100% would love to have you as part of the channel as we grow this thing, as we have some fun with it. You all are awesome. Have a great night. I will see you in the next video, and God bless.